Okay. Hello. This is probably the 5th time I start recording this video. I'm hoping maybe this is the charm. This one works. I've been experiencing some pretty extreme difficulties this morning with thinking and functioning. Both my body and brain seem really out of it. And this is very likely because of yesterday evening, which I have spent in a rather noisy environment for me. That is smoker people, teenage people, constant mind chatter, constant signals flying everywhere, generally quite mindless and weird. And yeah, so yesterday was a pretty up and down kind of a day. So I went for, let's just get into it here. I went for just doing what I call balancing the network. So if this is the park, let's get a proper color here. Darker green. This is the lawn of the park. Should probably actually just put this here for good vibes. Let's say this is the park, so I went yesterday to do this thing that I do called balancing the network. Balancing the network is something that actually applies to everything that's alive. So what I say here applies not only to humans, but it applies to animals, to birds, to insects, to all kinds of things. So here's how it goes. Basically, if you take a location, a physical location, this is the park, you will have in it a number of beings, of entities of some sort or another. Come on with it, come on with the beings. So let's say these are humans here. It's a parent with child or something. A group of teenagers, a group of old ladies with their kid. Whatever, what have you, these clusters of humans. Now then you have maybe dogs, could be various animals, a couple of dogs here and there. Could be birds. La 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 la. Some nice birds chirping in the trees and in the air, just singing, making the place interesting. A few more humans just to make things fun. Okay, so balancing the network is the following. You go out there, and I think we instinctively do this all the time. As I said, it's a function of everything that's alive. If this is me, la 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 la. Green, yellow, green. Okay, I'm the green guy. I'm gonna sit here and be green. Bigger than the rest because I find myself very important to myself. Inflated sense of importance. Okay, so this is me. And what's happening is that all of these things connect in some way to each other. There will be signals. At least this one will be looking at somebody else in their direction. They'll be looking at the dogs. Even if they're not looking, there will be communication happening because auditory signals travel. So at least the noise and the barking and the bird singing will have some effect on anybody that's there. I say network in the sense that we are all kind of connected in this sense. Not sure if this should be here or later on in the video, but let's say we have some sort of connection. So if this is a group and they're all talking, there will be some kind of connection among them. Let's say this, and give it a screen and an opacity, and let's see what goes here. Oops. Come on with it. La, 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 la. Okay, so these guys will be connected because they're in a group. So they talk to each other, they understand each other. They have some sort of connections. These guys maybe as well. And this guy may be listening to birds. And maybe dogs as well. The dogs, if you look at them, they will obviously be connected to each other in some sort of way. So dogs, unless they're mindlessly clueless, they will have some kind of idea of where the other dogs are. They will keep track of each other like this, if they're not too far apart. Let's make some more stuff here. Let's say this is a dog and it's connected to these guys, but this guy's too far away, so maybe just these guys are connected. But they keep track of each other, and and what you see here forming is obviously a network, right? So when anybody comes here into this network, they will do their best to just wing it, just follow their instincts in such a way that whoa, maybe they know. Sorry for the interrupt. I'm as I said kind of new at this. These guys are connected here, and yeah. So anybody who comes here, they will do their best and utmost to contribute to this situation here in some way. Like if dogs do something funny, they'll laugh, and these guys, for instance, here will not necessarily be in range of the dogs that did something funny, but this guy laughing will signal to these guys that something funny just happened. Maybe they'll start to look. If the funny stuff here is still happening, then these guys can see it and start to connect with the funny stuff happening. Ooh, let's actually do this. But why is this whole thing? Okay. So you see how this works? Again, this dog does something funny, falls on its head or starts levitating or something, and I'm here. And I connect to this, and I see it, and I start laughing. And I signal this. Now these guys, they hear my laughter, and they're connected to me, at least temporarily. And because they see me laughing and looking, and they see my connection here, oh boy, this is interesting. Because they see my connection in this direction, they know that the funny stuff is happening in here. So they know to all connect to this thing. And basically, a funny signal that starts here, if the signal is funny from this dog, it will ripple out through network, through the local network here. So it will, in a sense, attract sustained attention, attract attention in some way. And the local groups will be connected to this, but also then if this guy watches these other guys, and he's not aware of this dog, he will become aware. So who knows? I think birds also follow this kind of stuff in some way, shape, or form, so they might also be interested. But anyway, balancing the network, so that is going someplace and just doing what comes to you, is a very balancing kind of thing to do, because you're just expressing yourself. You're free to express. There's not that many rules in a park as opposed to a school or a factory or a job, right? So you can go there and first and foremost, you have a lot of data to notice, to observe, to take in. You can learn about the interactions between these different kind of beings, and then you're more experienced in your whole life, in your understanding of how these beings communicate together. Now, what's interesting to see is that this is a pattern that works precisely the same whether you're talking about parks or you're talking about brains and neurons. So this thing can be the lawn of a park, or it can be a skull, a brain. And these are not humans and dogs and birds, but different kinds of neurons firing different kinds of signals. I hope that makes sense. So any neuron does this exact same process in our heads. They're simply doing their thing, processing local data from the other neurons that they're connected to, and by doing that, they work a function in a grander scheme of things. Now, what's important to take notice of here? Several things. One of them being energy level and, in a sense, coherence level and synchronicity or synchronizing level in any unit, in any neuron or being. Let's sort of zoom in on a human. Here yet? Yes, we're here. We just need a bigger drawing tool. So if this is a human, can you see this? This is a bit of a human. Then what I'm saying is their energy level isn't constant over time. Their what I would call coherence level isn't constant over time. Boy, this is a nice process here. I mean, as I'm explaining these things, I'm getting new downloads and insights and stuff like that in real time. So let's say we get this guy, we get its copy, and here's what's happening. Hold on, just need a new color here to express energy. So if this guy comes with a certain amount of energy in its tank, and boy, this would have been useful to just be larger, and it uses that energy for signaling. So as it sends signal outwards, be they sound or tactile contact or just moving around, as it expends energy into signals, it will basically get into this state where it's less full of energy. And from this state, from being tired, you have, I guess, less internal coherence, and so and also less energy, and your signals will be, let's see here, kind of like even more faint to make a point. Your signals will be faint. Boy, this isn't all that visible, is it? Hold on, I shall be moving these in range any second now. Okay, this is what we have. So this is a full neuron, a neuron full of, or a body, a human body, full of electrical energy. Maybe in the morning, maybe after meditation, after whatever. After a lot of signaling, they get into this empty state. And then once you're more empty, well, your signaling still works. You can still move and you can still talk and sing and do all kinds of things, but they will be fainter. They won't, like, your level of energy that you send out will express what you have inside. And if inside you're kind of depleted, it will sound like you're depleted. Let's see. So you can do pretty much the same things as soon as the Photoshop thing starts to collaborate with us. Come on, man. Oh, Jesus Lord. Okay, let's just demonstrate this. I've signaled into this video for a bit, now I'm kind of depleted, and now I just need to reorganize a bit. What I'm trying to say is the following. Every being, every unit of any kind will have inside itself a sort of sub-network, if that makes sense. So it's not just this thing. If this is me, if this is my brain, it's not just a block of stone, it's basically this same thing here repeated internally. So it's a network. If it's a network, it looks kind of like this. Yep. So you're going to have a node and a node and a node, and it's a bunch of nodes, and they're connected to each other like this. This all forms a nice network, and when it's well fed and well rested and everything, everybody is pretty much full of energy. Okay, everybody can signal when it's time to signal, and they can signal at full strength. They're charged up, really nice, ready to go. Then as you use this network, let's go here. Now, how do we explain this? Make it less and less and even less. You have something like this. This is the empty network. And now what you still have here is maybe maybe some guys still have some energy. But the more you've fired from it, the more it's kind of depleted. You don't have any more. You can still send signals, but it's not from the full brain. Like if this area of the network is more silent, more depleted because you've used this one particularly a lot, then it will need time to recharge. And so other parts of your area will be still charged. You'll still be able to do some functions better, but some will not work so well. So this is a partially charged network. And also, in a sense, you can say it's what I would say is desynchronized from itself, because this is active, this is inactive. Over here, it's all active. You can have a network, I suppose, that's also synchronized, but it's all empty. Let's take this, make a copy. This will be this has much better synchronization than this, but it's also more depleted. So everybody is basically sleeping. Okay, so sleeping would maybe, metaphorically speaking, something like this. And we go through these cycles of signaling and depleting and then recharging. Signaling, depleting, recharging. As we signal outside into the network, so as any one of these beings sends out their signals, their laughter, their movement, their whatever they're doing, what they do is follow how the energy flows through the network. So let's say you punch a guy, something happens, right? They run away, or they're bigger than you and they punch you back, or something happens. And as we follow these data flows, we learn how the external network works. We learn these patterns, and we make new things, new connections. Where are you? La 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 la. We make, come on, new connections inside our network. We learn some things. We make suppositions and theories and what have you. And This is how we grow our understanding of the world. This is the most basic way to say it. Now, it should be obvious that as you, the more you signal, the more depleted you are. And if you put this on a graph, the energy level that you work at, if you just make a little bit of a graph here, well, different people are comfortable or used to working at certain ranges of energy. Like a drunk, for instance, will be used to working at very low levels. Like if at any point energy starts to get high, they start to get all their network connected, they will immediately drop a bottle here, like this, bottle of booze, and some smokes, and the energy will go low again. And the body will start to make its process to start to get high, but again, booze and cigarettes or whatever drug of choice, or video gaming, porn, whatever, and it will get it down. So this is a drunk. Okay. Let's do some coloring here. And this is Thread, a drunk, and he's optimized for a low level of energy, low to medium, let's say. And you can see this because the steps are really weird, the way they walk, the speech is slurred, and all that. Let's move around this whole thing and say, take this graph, make it longer. Take another color. Let us say you have some sort of an Olympic athlete, right? And they will be very used to a cycle of high energy, right? So they'll be here and they'll train and do things and deplete themselves and go to sleep, but then expect that their energy will rise, and so they'll have a strong pulse like this. Their maximum level of energy will be significantly higher than a drunk. So this difference here is very different. And in between these two extremes, between the drunk and the Olympic athlete, this is drunk. Between these guys, you have, I guess, maybe the rest of us. So various levels of comfort at various energy levels. Now, what am I trying to explain here? I'm trying to explain what I do when I go out and balance the network. One thing you can do is if you just go here where there is a lot of data flowing around, and rather than signaling all the time, maybe you go like this, maybe half charged, maybe fully charged, doesn't matter. Instead of signaling all the time and just seeing your own energy flow through these connections and these people and these beings, you do something more like la 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 la, like this guy is doing. And what you do is close your eyes, open your ears, keep your mouth shut, no signaling most of the time, and listen. So basically just follow the data streams as they happen of themselves. What the dogs do when you don't give them orders, what the people do when you don't do anything with them or to them, how the birds sing, how everything works. You just stop signaling out into network. Stop trying to get anything out of it. So you just see the flow, observe how it's happening of its own accord, of its own choices and devices. And what this does is, without you depleting yourself, you get free information, you get free data. Where are we? So you can make new connections without expending energy. You get all kinds of observations, all kinds of things. And you are also, even if you start at a half level, like partial level of energy, because you're not expending signals, because you're breathing with eyes closed, electrically you're slowly charging up. Centers and things are firing up. As neurons don't fire, as you don't make sound and don't make any, I mean, you're sitting, you're not moving, you're not expending energy that way, your digestion can work, your immune system and everything can work. Things start charging up with energy again, with electric energy. There's more potential to fire from. And you slowly get like this, and also because you're listening, you're not sleeping. Because you're listening, you are making new observations and connections. So things are improving. Balancing the network means, to me, just going in a place like this with no plan, ideally with no plan. So if you can go, I'm still working on some of those aspects, but if you can go with no specific plan of what's going to happen or what should happen, the following will happen. Let's imagine that this is a brain, not a park. And every neuron, literally every single neuron, has an agenda. Like every neuron has an agenda of when it wants water, when it wants sugar, when it wants to connect more, when it wants to connect less to recharge. Okay? And the thing is, we can probably relate much better to this idea of neurons than to the collective intelligence of a park. Like we can see how a brain, like a fellow human being, has ideas and can use English and make very complex things that a single neuron in their heads would have no idea how they work or what they're about. This neuron here that may be just, controlling how I use my pinky finger would have no idea that its connections actually help me play the violin or the flute in order that I may seduce some nice human female, and then we would hang out and she would, I don't know, applaud me or something. And because of her doing that, I would make serotonin and other awesome hormones that this neuron, the pinky finger neuron, would get and benefit from, but it would, at no point would it actually see the larger loop of how this works. And I hope this makes some sense. Like this neuron, all it knows how to do is fire some signals so that my pinky finger works properly, and then I need this concentrated effort. So basically, if this is the pinky guy, so this is the pinky guy, this is the hand guy, this is the other finger guy, and they're all connected. Let's see here. Oh, please work, Lord. 50%. Lord, are you there? Okay, it's me, Margaret. So these guys connect like this. Now, all they do at their own magnification level is they're playing with each other, firing signals out of the blue. But they've learned through repeated years of practice a pattern that goes like, when should you wiggle this finger so that you press a chord so that the violin plays right, and it coordinates with something quite far away, which is the maybe this is the ear guy, the hearing guy, and it connects to the pinky guy. You see, there's a connection here because there needs to be a connection here, and this connection is, you can call it basically the skill of playing a violin. You see, like if you have this connection between the pinky guy and the hand guy and the hearing, and you know how to coordinate all the stuff, then you can play the violin. If you have them differently, you may be able to play the flute, but not the violin, because every skill is very specific. Now what I'm saying is, this guy this guy here, this local neuron here, the pinky guy, does not see that what it does connects to a hand, and what it does in the brain actually goes outside. It turns into this, it touches this physical object called a violin, which makes epic sound, which, okay, the here can hear this, but this guy is only getting this much data here. So, like, he knows that something happened when he fired those signals into the violin that comes back as sound, and this guy hopefully finds it pleasing and says, hey man, this is what you're doing was really cool. What you're doing was really cool, right? This is how it works. And also the female human hears it and hopefully is really impressed by it, and then it follows from that, like she kisses the guy on the cheek, and then there's a cheek neuron here, cheek sensitive neuron, I suppose, the skin receptors from the from all this stuff. Are we still on? No, we're not. Jesus Lord. So this thing then again tells, I mean, something happens, it tells a receptor thing to fire some endorphins, and the endorphins get back to this guy, and so there's a large loop. Actually, this is not even clear because it's not an electrical signal, it's just chemical stuff flowing out, endorphins or serotonin or whatever it is. So I'm saying this neuron does not see this large loop. It's invisible to him. One neuron, the pinky neuron, all it knows is how to move a pinky. But the correlated situation here, so let's do a stronger connection between these guys. The strengthening of this thing here and this guy here makes something happen that the whole group finds pleasing, and then they learn something from it. But what I'm really trying to say is that the whole intelligence of this neural network, the whole brain, coupled with this neural network like the girl's brain, no one single neuron can comprehend the unbelievably complexity level of this whole situation being played out here. And what I'm saying is they don't need to understand it. All they need to know how to do is basically balance the network, balance the incoming with the outgoing signals. And also what's likely to happen if they just do that, and if they just stay spontaneously connected to this neuron and these chemical things, if they stay in the moment spontaneously connected, what this whole network can do when all its neurons are connected and spontaneous and synchronized with each other is much more interesting than what this one neuron could come up with. Because this one neuron could only come up with ideas that would go, I fire into this guy and this guy is into so it has a maximum processing capability. Like it can make a plan that involves maybe 5 neurons or 50 or 100. But this whole plan of playing the violin, the girl liking it, the girl kissing you back, the timing of it, all kinds of things about it, this is a plan that involves millions and billions of neurons. So it's far outside of the processing capability of this guy here, the pinky guy. Coming back from the brain metaphor to the park metaphor, this is something that leads into Bashar, the follow your enthusiasm kind of thing, and why we're supposed to do that, and how this is actually the best thing we can do. What's happening here? I need more light on this guy. Okay. And that's why balancing the network with no clear plans is quite important, because by definition the plans we make at a neuron level, at the just me level, are far below the complexity that's possible if we trust the outside network of the whole collective intelligence of the whole park. Boy, I hope this made some sense. Because this is the stuff I ponder every day almost, or pretty much every day for years now. Balancing the network. So what I'm saying is I have a couple of parks, two actually, that I go to and just learn about these things, learn about these connections, follow these energy things as they happen. I'm looking at groups and I'm looking if this guy here gets to meet, boy, I hope this is visible on the, so if this guy here gets to meet and fall in love with this girl here, the fat one, they're basically for them to meet and correlate signals and just cross each other's paths, there needs to be a certain timing involved. Like they need to be together at the same place at the same time. And what I've seen is that we have a sort of magnetic sense that helps that happen. And females have this stronger when they're ovulating and weaker when they're not. It's like a graph that goes up and down, like this thing here. And logic is a pretty poor way to do things, because logic takes time to engage and to use, whereas there are more spontaneous, direct ways that outperform logic in real time. So you can think of logic as something like just this, just one part of the brain here. But if you can use a whole brain that's so where the logic and the intuition and the art and the music and the spontaneity is all fired up, there are faster parts than logic that would work. I think I still have to work on this explanation. Okay, but I'm getting some data out, and this is what I'm trying to say, because this is how I function. So what happened yesterday is I went to the park, and ooh, this is nice. So I went to the park, and obviously me being this neuron here, the green one, I have my own needs of having biked for a long distance, of having expended physical signal like this. I was kind of depleted, and I needed water, among other things. And I had food, but no water. And there was this different thing here. This is an area where I go to basically get my water from. This is a forest. How do I symbolize forest? It's stronger, it's greener. Okay, like this. Bear with me a second. Just want to make this super strong. So it's a forest, and I went from here into the forest. Still doesn't work. Let's make it magical. It's a forest. It's a magical forest. It has birds. Singing real nice. Oh my god, this is epic data coming in. I'm glad I'm sharing this. So it has birds. And it has trees. More trees than here. I haven't even pictured trees in the previous one, but I'm gonna picture them here. There's trees. Let's make them somehow. Boy, the trees look weird. But it does have trees. bum, 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 bum. And it has something that's quite important to me. It has the sound of water going through it. So this is quite important because it does interesting things. Are we here? So this is water passing through the forest and the little birdies. And so I went from here. Come on with it. I went from here to here, and I got here to the first spring, water spring, to get my water. And I then noticed that not only did I forget to take water with me, I mean, I thought I had in my backpack an empty bottle of water to get just water from the spring. Not only did I put no water with me, but I also forgot to take the bottle itself. So I had no bottle. I could drink from the spring, but not get more to have with me, a couple of liters. So I had to go, well, spend some time there to figure out what to do. Spend time in this particular environment, which is different from this one. This is a different network altogether. This is the forest network. And I figured, hey, there's a second spring here. If I just travel with my bike, it's higher in the forest, in the center, like close to the center, deeper. And I knew that next to it there's a place where people just drop their empty bottles. So I would find a bottle there. But this was basically a detour that, how do I say this? Well, my initial plan was I go there. I was sort of depleted, like this. Actually, more depleted. Let's say, how do I do this? Take these guys and these guys, and Shift E and delete some of them. Yeah, to signal less energy. So I was kind of depleted. So my plan from the head was, I'm gonna go here, get some water real quick, and come right back. So I guess my plan was stay 10-15 minutes and come right back. That was my plan from the head. But if you think in terms of subconscious and the things that look behind the scenes that make us forget our lighter or like drop our keys and things like that, it very likely knew that I need to spend more time in nature yesterday. And so it probably just fired up different areas of my brain when I was about to pack my water bottle and all that to ensure that I actually spend more time here. And what was a plan of 15 minutes turned into at least a good hour, because I went here on the path. There was another thing, a nice table with a place to draw near the water spring, so I could be here in this environment, in this water sounds kind of place, which has a very different impact on the neural network compared to humans and noise in the park. And so rather than just go with my logical planning thing that, hey, I'm gonna go and be back in 15 minutes, I went here, went there, just slow walking next to water, because the road is next to water, calming the brain, calming the neural network, calming down. Then coming back here to this place to just sit again, sounds of water, drawing, thinking, and then the actual result was, I'm saying, at least 1 hour before I got back. Um, what I'm saying is that this is this way of doing things spontaneously, showing up somewhere and just balancing the network with the state it's in right now, as opposed to the state you planned. This is the best way to learn. This is this is something that the whole of network, the whole of the species is upgrading to. Going from a lot of planning from the head like this, which is a lot of one neuron planning its own thing, to more letting things go, more learning by allowing, more letting the network guide you moment by moment, trusting that its own intelligence is much higher than yours. And this applies to when you think, for instance, conscious and subconscious, and it applies to thinking internal network as opposed to internal and external network. What I noticed yesterday is that right after I came back from the hour-long existing in the forest, my mind was like this. It was really nice and calm and chill. I was really happy with life in general. But just going here, I was just feeling a lot of satisfaction in just existing there, you know. And as soon as I went to the other park and I met a bunch of weird, noisy teenagers, and I got attracted into chatting up one of their girls and all that, I spent time into more in this kind of noise. And I've seen how this really depletes the network, like processing all this high verbal information from multiple sources all the time, especially if it's not mindful, especially if it's a lot of stupid signals as opposed to a few well-placed ones. This will really deplete the network. And I'm saying what this feels like, so what a depleted network feels like, is very important to be mindful of, to have that data in a meditation kind of sense, to observe it, to have awareness of it. Like, now I know that a forest leads to this full network thing here, and a like the game is to basically synchronize somehow, find a way to communicate and interact and resonate with some people without using too many signals. This is something that I have a drawing about. Let's see. Okay, this is the drawing. The part we care about is this one. You see this thing here? Probably gonna need to repaint it to be more clear. No worries. So this thing here, as soon as we get a proper visible color, this thing here, what you have is nodes like this, and their connections, because they're a group, they do have connections with each other. I'm saying this thing with the yellow is, for instance, this thing here. Come on with it. This. If you're seeing it and it's clear. This. How you approach a group like this. This is me, by the way. This is me with my music and my bullshit and my epic vibes and my juggling and whatever. I mean, hopefully epic vibes, because of course sometimes they're not so epic. It doesn't work every time. But basically, this is how you can interact with any network. You play the distances, you play the signals, and insufficient signaling or weak or insufficient signaling will lead to no cake for you, and over signaling, well, either tires these guys out or you tire yourself out too fast and then you're done. And the thing is, okay, let's follow these observations where they lead. If you go by energy level, oh, this is nice. So if you go by energy level, a group that's like this will be highly interested in dealing with a person that's more charged up than they are. But they will be interested in doing something that's basically like listening, taking in their energy, right? They will be open for you to sing and to play, but as soon as you've depleted yourself to at or below their level, they'll be more interested to ignore you. Because if you come in at this level, pretty much empty, basically you're looking to draw energy from them. That's why people who are sober don't really like having a drunk around them too much for too long. So balancing the network, as I see it, is this process of going in somewhere, meditating, with focus more externally than internal, so focusing on all the sounds around. Sometimes I look as well, but because visual processing is rather heavy, it consumes a lot of energy, I prefer to focus a lot on hearing. So trying to follow the patterns that are happening, follow all the discussions that are going in all the groups at once, all around me. And learning the patterns and charging up. And then what's happening is that I think every brain here, every being here has a way of noticing the energy charge level of the fellow networks around them. So if this is a dog here and I'm here, if the dog is like this from all the running and I'm like this, it will instinctively come to me and we can play and pet each other and lick each other's faces and what have you, and we'll balance out the energy. It will be a win-win interaction, if that makes sense. So he'll get some and I'll get some energy because this is refreshing to me. I'll reconnect to my animal side and so on. Let's see where this goes. There's probably more to say about things like aggression, dumping stress and aggression. It's probably will require a different video because this one is pretty long already. But just as a preview, I could say that if this is a depleted network and these are really depleted areas, like like this is a dark side of the network. This is anger, stress, stuff like that. Well, if you can sort of go to somebody and dump this stuff on them, just be mean to them, send electricity through this part of the network and it will express as some sort of mean behavior, a dog growling or biting you, or saying something mean, right? A drunk will have a lot of this, and that's why what they say will be in some way vulgar, in some way weird. If you can dump this on others, you get to clean your own network, but you've just dumped stress on them, and that's a win-lose. And you see, of course, a lot of this in the park because we all have both. So what am I saying here? Probably saying that having spent 2 hours in the forest, 1 or 2 hours in the forest yesterday, improved this side of myself. It just fired me up with energy, sunlight, and everything, birds and water. And then spending time with a bunch of smoking teenager weirdos improved more like this side of my neurology, the depleted one, the tired, making less sense now. than I was making maybe in other videos. Okay, but I'm glad I got to share this. At least it's some of my thinking processes. What I can say, just to wrap this one off, what I can say is that a strongly charged neurology, like just imagine if you have many of these guys at this charge level. Okay, you have this guy here, and this guy here, and this guy here, and this guy here. It's just a bunch of groups of discharged people like this. Hold on, I'm going somewhere with this. I am. So whoever has the most charged up and lit up neurology in that park, in that yard, will gradually start to be and seem more attractive, more of interest to everybody else. Because if you can max out your energy higher than anybody else, they will want to know how you did this, whether it's drugs, whether it's meditation, whether it's whatever. Furthermore, I think and feel that there's this field around us. Oh, come on, man. Let's make it 20%. Huh. This is interesting. No. Bear with me. How does this work? Okay, there's a field around us, electromagnetic or maybe some other type of energy, and what I'm saying is people can feel this stuff, and they have theirs. So we have ours, they have theirs. Everything like this has a field like this. Where are we? Hold on. Okay, I think I got it. So because they're more depleted, they just have this level of field. Because maybe I'm more charged up, or anybody that's more charged up has this level of field going. Let's see, this is more energy. Boy, how do I express this? Like this. So they have the blue stuff, but not the green stuff, the yellow stuff like this. So everybody has this magnetic field around them, and they can sense this, and then as you charge up, so maybe when you come in, maybe you're like this, smaller, whatever, but as you charge up, you get this extra energy, and everybody feels it. And because they feel it, they want to get it too. Like everybody wants in some way, on some level, to get clean of their suffering, as the Buddhists say, get clear of their suffering and their junk, their internal junk, and to be just chill in the moment. Only thing is, they don't necessarily know how that's done. Oh, this is nice. Where the fields interact, you get this nice overlap here. So the larger one gets their field, the more people can feel this stuff. Hey, this dude is physically like us, same size maybe, but energetically not so, because you can make this field higher and higher. And this is what people were representing with this guy here. See what I'm saying? The depictions of Jesus and Buddha and stuff like that, they didn't have these things around the heads just because they were so awesomely cool. Because they were, in a sense, awesomely cool. They would like high five and fist bump and everything. But It wasn't just coolness level, right? Because the king was cool as well. But these guys had a certain extra. They had, and in I guess technical or medical terms, is you can say they had the ability to up their body voltage, to stop blabbering all day at least, and to charge up like this, and to gather a lot of network data through direct observation. And if memory and wisdom and knowledge on my part serves right, you had these things, for instance, in the Greek mystery schools. You had these initiation things or vows of, like, you don't speak for maybe 1 year or 5 years. You don't speak. You just go out there and listen and maybe do your stuff. You help people cross the street or whatever, but you don't speak. And you wear something with you to, I'm assuming, to let people know you don't speak, that that is not personal. And you would get tremendous amounts of information from outside network. You would see these amazing patterns that nobody else sees. So where everybody else, oh, this is nice. Where everybody else has darkness, you have light. Now, of course, these guys, I should probably, now after copy pasting them, after doing all this crap, oh, come on. Oh, this is uncopy pastable. Not sure how to twist this around, but this should be, I guess, twisted like this. Oh, come on! So if you spin this guy around, you could say that this is more like the conscious and this is the subconscious in a sense, or like the dark, the shadow part, the repressed subconscious. And what I'm saying is, if you do enough of this stuff, of the meditation, of the network balancing, of letting things flow out of you, express themselves, then where others have darkness, you have light. Where others are unaware because they're afraid to tread there in their own darkness, you become aware. You see the patterns that are there because it is a network, and it does make sense. All these connections, everything, they do make sense. They have a rhyme and reason. But you see and are unafraid to go into places where others are afraid. I'm going to give up on this whole idea of turning all of them around. So it's going to be an upside down thing. Everybody's dark. I'm the only cool guy here. There, I'm full of ego. So there. Well, I feel we've made a bunch of progress today in understanding network balancing and serotonin and a bunch of other things. So yeah, I think time is not wasted here. This is basically hacking Buddhism, if you want to call it, like hacking meditation in Buddhism. I feel that these videos have a lot of like treasure material inside them, but you have to force yourself to listen through the initial bullshit, which I seem to have coming out first, especially when tired. And yeah, this was today's expression. I hope this makes sense to people. Please do send some feedback, some sort of questions, follow up, make your own drawings about this, draw these things, see if you have any realizations and insights and what have you. Basically, and to wrap this up, this is what all species do. This can be a cluster of neurons, or it can be a bunch of people, or it can be a wolf pack, or it can be a yard with this is the rooster and these are the hens, or the smaller roosters. Based on, how do I say this, like the level of electric charge you are able to handle, successfully integrate, you will get your place somehow, somewhere in this hierarchy of this group here. And the cooler you are, the more people will want to interact with you in some way. Either to dump their stress and their junk on you, the black stuff, or to connect their light energy with yours, and thus to so when these energies connect, they support each other. When these energies like this and light connects, they cancel each other out. When black to black connects, in a sense, they both get stronger because you have aggression versus aggression. Everybody gets more experienced in doing aggression. Wow. I think this will require saving for future use, this map of reality. And I'll play with this some more in future videos. Thanks for listening, give me some feedback, and enjoy.